what does this look like in practice? I make a point to start every conversation with what are the goals? The reason I do that is because it gets everyone in the room thinking about what metrics do we need to track and why. And then that starts to create this semblance of an idea of, okay, we know that this is important to marketing. This is important to sales. This is important to CES. Do we have that data already living in our system of record? Are we already tracking it? Do we have an easy way to track it? Is there an easy way to make this data accessible? So that's always, always, always the way to start a conversation. I think the other area here is that you need to invest in long-term strategies rather than band-aids. The idea of saying, okay, so we right now have 10 different tools that don't really talk to each other, but they kind of talk to each other and it's okay for now. You are going to implode. You need to sit down. And again, this comes back to a decision has to be made. You cannot just band-aid it all the way to going from scaling to scale up to growth and all of these buzzwords that people love to use. And then from there, iterate, iterate, iterate. You will never get to the right answer the first time. You need to try. You need to keep working at it. It took me over 6 months to figure out what our marketing North Star metric should be at one company. And while tinkering with report after report, day after day, that's when it also started to help figuring out what our actual ICP was, what we were trying to get them to do. And that took about a year. And I think from there, we just made small tweaks, which were great. But don't ever say, this is it. This will be the way it always will be, because that is just not how things are going to go. So be open to it. Be open-minded. And from there, the key takeaway from all of this should be, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Any questions? I feel like I went through that fairly quickly.
Alex, you were great actually in time. So we have just about 3 or 4 minutes left. I'm not seeing any questions from the comments, but I definitely have a few because this is something that I've dealt with at company to company to company. Just to start with, like your preference for yourself on that source of truth. Do you have a preference if it's like if it's your marketing automation, if it's your CRM, is it a separate data warehouse? Do you have a preference for where stuff is really originating from?
I do. My preference is the CRM. And the reason for that is because I feel that the CRM is touched by more than just a data warehouse or just marketing automation. And the data needs to be accessible to all. Like, this is a big, big part of this as well, is that we need to make sure that everyone can be able to pull the numbers that they need and they don't rely on someone else. Because if it's just in your marketing automation, then you got to rely on your marketing team. If it's just in your data warehouse, then you got to rely on your engineering team. And it slows things down.
Definitely. We're HubSpot users ourselves, but I've been in Salesforce environments, and I know that challenge of getting the customer success team from just one platform into actually using Salesforce is a huge task in of itself, but it unlocks so much potential for just data democracy, right? Everybody having access to the same stuff. So I totally get that. It looks like we do have a question from Roberta. How would you make sure there isn't one person solely responsible for pulling data or using tools in the org?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks so much, Roberta. So this comes back to investing in training. I think that you need to look at your organization and think about who needs access to data to do their job appropriately. And you will start to find that there are people across the org in different departments in marketing and sales and CS. And then start to get that training going for them. See if your system of record has specific training, one-on-one training, HubSpot Academy, whatever it may be. Because I also think that when you attempt to do an internal training, when you have someone that you say, okay, we've got someone on business ops and they're going to be able to just do it this way and train everyone in the company, they are not going to be able to do the training with the right lens for everyone. And I think that the lens that a marketer or the lens that a salesperson takes on this is very different and needs to be taken into consideration. So invest.
Definitely. And we have one more. What are some North Star metrics for marketing that worked for you?
All right. So the most notable one that I think worked, and I'll tell you why it worked, we called it marketing influenced. And the reason that this worked is because it was very easy to tell our board of investors marketing influenced accounts. And they could say to themselves, I know the words that are coming out of your mouth. It was influenced by marketing. And then you would be able to bring it down to your leadership team. And again, be like, this is marketing influence, but marketing influence means at a more granular level that we have engaged at least one person, one contact at an account within a quarter. And then they'll say, okay, we understand that because you can't have more at bats within a sales cycle, or else now your marketing numbers are getting skewed versus your sales numbers. Because you can then have a marketing team say, well, we've had 25 marketing influenced accounts and, sales has only had 2 opportunities. Well, it was 25. Like, you got to look at unique accounts over a certain cooldown period. So I would also suggest creating a cooldown period based on your average sales cycle and giving a little bit of extra time on the top. So I do like that terminology of marketing influenced.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a good catch-all for sure. So I love that as well. Well, thank you. Thanks for the comments and the questions. Alex, great presentation. Hopefully everybody pulled something away from that. If you all don't mind hanging on for another 5 minutes, we will be back shortly. But Alex, thanks for talking. Have a great day and best
Thanks
of
so
luck.
much, Joe.
All right.